the F-4 Phantom II. To pilots of the 1970s, this wasn't just a fighter jet. It was a flying tank, a titanium-reinforced promise of American air superiority. Twin engines screaming, capable of Mach 2.2, bristling with radar-guided missiles, the F-4 was designed to dominate. Its systems, robust, redundant, built to weather anything the Cold War skies could throw at it. But on a sweltering September night in 1976, over the city of Tehran, Iran, that promise shattered into 1,000 pieces. Not against a foreign enemy, not against a new missile system, but against something that simply nullified it.
The initial alert came from a civilian at approximately 0030 on September 19, 1976. Mr. Hossein Pirouzi, reporting to the Mehrabad airport tower, described a large, bright object in the sky, brighter than any star, moving rapidly. Within minutes, multiple calls flooded in, corroborating the sighting. General Naderi, the deputy commander of the Iranian Air Force, was awakened and personally ordered a scramble. The first aircraft, an F-4D Phantom II, tail number 6-6256, piloted by Lieutenant Jafari with Lieutenant Sohili as his backseater, was airborne at 0130. Their mission was standard: identify the unknown contact.
And this isn't some rookie crew, right? We're talking about experienced military pilots in a top-tier interceptor.
Precisely. Lieutenant Jafari was a highly skilled, seasoned pilot. His aircraft, the F-4D, was equipped with the AN/APQ-120 radar system, an advanced pulse Doppler unit designed for all-weather, long-range detection and tracking. As Jafari approached the reported coordinates, his radar locked onto a contact. It wasn't atmospheric. It was a discrete, solid object, significantly larger than any conventional aircraft signature. Visually, he described it as intensely bright, pulsating with blue, green, red, and orange lights, hovering at approximately 10,000 feet altitude. He began his intercept profile. Then, without warning, as he closed to an estimated range of 25 nautical miles, his flight instrumentation began to fail. His UHF communications, dead. His interplane communications, dead. His AN/APQ-120 radar, blank. Every critical system designed to give him eyes and a voice in the sky simply ceased functioning. He was flying a multi-million-dollar ghost.
A ghost, a state-of-the-art war machine, silenced. This wasn't just a glitch. This wasn't some minor electrical hiccup. This was a complete, systemic shutdown that left a pilot blind and deaf in a hostile sky.
Correct? Jafari immediately initiated a defensive maneuver, turning away from the object. As he put distance between his F-4 and the unknown, his system's flicker fired back to life. Communications were restored. Radar returned to normal operation. It was as if the object itself possessed a localized, directed nullification field. General Naderi, observing the unfolding events from the ground, understood the severity. A second F-4D, tail number 66254, piloted by Lieutenant Azizkhani, with Lieutenant J. Sarafi in the rear seat, was launched at 0140.
So, we have a second chance to investigate, but also a chance for this to repeat. What did Azizkhani encounter?
Azizkhani's experience mirrored Jafari's with chilling precision. He acquired the object on radar, a solid target, confirmed by Mehrabad ground radar, and visually identified it as the same brilliant multicolored light. This time, however, the object wasn't stationary. It began to move, matching the F-4's speed, maintaining a relative bearing. Azizkhani attempted to engage, hoping to obtain photographic evidence with the F-4's optical systems, or at the very least, a clear lock for his heat-seeking AIM-9 Sidewinder missiles. He armed his weapon system, made his intercept run, and at that critical moment, his armament panel went completely dark. The missile control panel, the very interface designed to launch the F-4's primary air-to-air weapon, became inert. Concurrently, his communication systems, just like Jafari's, died. No radio, no radar, no ability to fire. The F-4 was again, for all its power, reduced to a silent, unarmed spectator. This was not coincidence. This was a repeatable, targeted interaction with the F-4's most advanced systems.
Two separate F-4 Phantoms, two separate highly trained crews, identical catastrophic system failures at the precise moment of attempted engagement. This isn't a pilot error. This isn't a fluke. This is something else entirely. It punches a hole clean through any easy, comfortable explanation.
Indeed. The object itself then demonstrated capabilities far beyond any known terrestrial aircraft. From the larger mothership, a smaller, intensely bright object detached. Aziz Khani described it as coming straight toward his aircraft at an incredible speed. He braced for impact, but the smaller object instead passed beneath him, circled back, and then re-entered the larger object. Moments later, another small, bright object detached, descending rapidly towards the ground. This second object appeared to impact near the town of Ray, south of Mehrabad, creating a brilliant flash of light that temporarily illuminated the landscape for the pilots. The F-4 crew marked the location. At the same time, a civilian airliner, a Boeing 747 on approach to Mehrabad, reported severe, momentary communications interference when passing through the same airspace. It was a pattern of disruption, not isolated incidents.
So, we're not just talking about something that could disable the most advanced military jet of its time, but something that could deploy smaller craft, maneuver with impossible precision, and affect other aircraft systems, even civilian ones. This isn't a meteor. This isn't Venus. This isn't weather balloons or some terrestrial secret project that the US or Soviet Union were testing in Iranian airspace.
Absolutely not. The official reports, including a declassified Defense Intelligence Agency document, explicitly state the objects demonstrated an outstanding capability of maneuvering that was impossible for normal conventional aircraft. The DIA report, UFO sighting in Iran, released years later, details the entire sequence of events, underscoring the lack of a conventional explanation. The pilot's radar scope and visual observations were corroborated by ground-based radar at Mehrabad. Ground personnel at Mehrabad even lost their communications temporarily when the object was overhead, further validating the localized EMP-like effect.
Let's hone in on that DIA report for a moment. This isn't some fringe blog post. This is the Defense Intelligence Agency. What kind of language do they use when describing these technological failures? What does it imply when a branch of the US military intelligence explicitly logs something like this? Because impossible for normal conventional aircraft doesn't even begin to cover the systemic shutdown of a Phantom. That's a direct threat to strategic capability.
The language is stark and unambiguous for a classified intelligence assessment. The DIA stated the incident was an outstanding report of a UFO, and that more impressive was the ability of the object to disable the aircraft electronically. They specifically noted that the F-4's weaponry was rendered inoperative at the critical moment. This isn't vague. It's clinical recognition of a direct, intentional nullification of military hardware. For the DIA to highlight the electronic disablement and the impossibility of the maneuvers, it signals an immediate and profound concern within the intelligence community about the nature of the encounter. It implies an adversary, or at least an entity, with the capacity to neutralize our most advanced air-to-air defense systems, effectively rendering us helpless.
Helpless. That's the word, isn't it? Our F-4s, designed to go head-to-head with anything, suddenly turned into expensive gliders, unable to communicate, unable to defend themselves. This wasn't about superior speed or stealth. It was about superior control over the electromagnetic spectrum, over the very circuits that power our capability. It feels less like an encounter with a physical craft, and more like a confrontation with an intelligence that understands our technology better than we do and can simply turn it off.
That interpretation aligns with the technical implications. The F-4 systems, its UHF-VHF transceivers for communication, its AN/APQ-120 radar, and its AM-9 Sidewinder missile control system operate on distinct frequencies and principles for all of them to fail simultaneously in proximity to the object suggests either an incredibly powerful, broadband electromagnetic pulse or a highly sophisticated, multi-frequency jamming capability. An EMP strong enough to affect multiple F-4s at range would require immense energy, far beyond any known terrestrial weapon system of that era, and would typically have broader, more indiscriminate effects. The localized, repeatable, and reversible nature of the F-4's system failures points more towards a directed energy phenomenon, perhaps a precisely targeted frequency manipulation, or even a coherent field effect designed to disrupt specific electronic functions. The F-4, for all its ruggedness, relied on integrated circuits and complex wiring looms. An unknown force capable of inducing such specific, disabling effects without destroying the aircraft points to a level of technological mastery that could manipulate the very atomic structure of our electronics, or at least bypass their shielding. It implies an understanding of our technological architecture at a fundamental level, allowing for surgical nullification rather than brute force destruction. That is a far more unsettling prospect.
Surgical nullification. Not annihilation, but complete incapacitation. It's a chilling thought. If the object wasn't interested in destroying the F-4s, but merely demonstrating absolute control over their function, what does that say about its intent? And what does it say about the future of our own defences, if they can be so easily disarmed by an unknown entity?
Indeed. The site where the second small object reportedly impacted was investigated the following day by Lieutenant Azizkhani himself, along with a helicopter crew. They found a pulsing signal emanating from the area, which seemed to coincide with a large, perfectly circular crater that was still faintly glowing. Geologists examined soil samples, but the findings were inconclusive, or perhaps were simply never made public in their entirety. The crater itself seemed to be too uniform, too precise, to be a random meteorite impact. This further complicates any attempt to attribute the event to natural phenomena, hinting at a solid physical presence with tangible, yet inexplicable effects on the ground.
The crater, the EMP effect, the systemic shutdowns, the impossible maneuvers, all of it paints a picture of an encounter that transcends our current understanding. The 1976 Tehran UFO incident isn't just another UFO story. It's a stark, documented confrontation between humanity's most advanced military technology and an intelligence that rendered it utterly useless. It wasn't about whether we could shoot it down, but whether we could even perceive it or communicate our terror before our instruments went dark. It suggests that our technological prowess, our reliance on circuits and signals, might be our greatest vulnerability in the face of truly superior intelligence. And if that intelligence can so effortlessly turn off our lights, silence our voices, and disarm our weapons, then how truly defended are we? What other fundamental aspects of our world could it so easily manipulate? And what, then, is the true extent of our control?